Welcome to industrial timber, where firewood processors, hydraulic splitters, saw tables, stump grinders, and homemade wood machines prove that raw power does not always need to come from a factory floor. At first glance, it looks like just another firewood processor, but the Halverson HWP 140B is operating on another level. The design is compact, aggressive, and practical, built to handle the kind of stubborn, crooked logs that usually slow everything down. The built-in safety cab makes the setup even more serious, keeping the operator protected while the machine does the hard work. It is smart, strong, and safe in one package, exactly the kind of machine that turns heavy firewood work into controlled production. Then comes a hydraulic splitter powered by a 5.5 kilowatt motor. And this one does not waste time. Once it starts working, the logs move through fast, clean, and with almost no hassle. No dramatic struggle, no wasted motion, just steady power turning raw timber into firewood. It is not just a tool sitting in the workshop. It becomes the backbone of firewood work when there is a serious pile waiting to be processed. If you have piles of wood stacked up and no patience left for slow manual splitting, this vertical tractor-mounted splitter changes the job completely. Heavy wood, awkward pieces, and large piles stop feeling like a burden once the machine takes over. It powers through the workload with the kind of force that makes firewood production quicker, cleaner, and far less stressful. That is the point of industrial timber equipment: less wasted effort, more usable output. Next, we see a homemade stump grinder that proves a smart build can still deliver serious results. Built with a GX 390 engine and a Blue Shark wheel, it chews through a 12-inch birch stump in just 8 minutes. With 13 horsepower and solid safety features already built in, the machine is impressive even before future upgrades. And that is what makes homemade industrial builds interesting. They are never really finished. Every test run shows what works, what needs improvement, and how much stronger the next version can become. Then comes the raw strength of a custom-built cutter. This machine does not just cut through wood, it crushes through it with power, weight, and precision. Big jobs become faster. Heavy timber becomes easier to handle. A machine like this changes the rhythm of the work because it removes the slowest part of the process and replaces it with raw mechanical force. After that, the steady power of an old tractor meets the precision of a saw. The result is a cutting system that feels simple, but works with real efficiency. The tractor engine keeps torque steady, while the saw handles the clean cutting work. No unnecessary complexity, no flashy electronics, just classic mechanics working in perfect sync. That old school setup still has a place because it gets the job done. The Farmy Master Split is not just another processor. It is a compact powerhouse designed for serious firewood work. With splitting forces from 2 to 8 tons, it brings strength, speed, and accuracy into one system. Whether tractor-mounted or electric, it gives operators an upgrade that actually matters. Firewood work becomes smoother, faster, and more controlled when the right machine is doing the pushing. Then we see a custom splitter built directly for efficiency. Powered by a 6 kilowatt motor, it slices each log with a single blade and keeps the process clean. No jams, no wasted energy, and no unnecessary strain on the operator. At roughly €1 per hour to run, this setup makes sense for high-volume splitting. It is not just powerful, it is economical, and in real production, that matters. Then comes a clever 4-way splitting idea. With a cross-shaped blade, extra weight, and a smart little trick, the log can be split into 4 clean pieces in one strike. It sounds simple, and when it works, it looks impressive. But there is a practical catch. Bending down again and again can destroy your back over time. Power is useful, but posture matters too. A smart operator does not only think about output, he thinks about how long he can keep working without wrecking himself. Then the tree gives us a plot twist. The guy thinks he has control, but the tree clearly has its own plan. That is the thing about wood. Whether you are cutting, splitting, grinding, or felling it, timber carries weight, tension, and stored energy. The moment you underestimate it, the job can change fast. Next, a serious processor handles 16.5-inch logs with 13 tons of force. With hydraulic controls, a saw head, and laser measurement built in, this is not just raw power. It is precision equipment, At around $15,500, it is not a casual purchase. It is an investment in accuracy, speed, and repeatable firewood production. For operators processing volume, that kind of control can pay for itself. Anyone who has ever fought with a machine build knows the feeling when it finally works. The circular fret saw may not give in easily during setup, but once the work is done right, it rewards the builder with smooth cuts and effortless log handling. That is the satisfaction behind homemade machinery. The struggle is part of the process, and the payoff is seeing the machine perform exactly the way it was meant to. Then comes a smart safety tweak on another design. By hooking the system into the tractor's TUC setup, the builder creates a safer response if the drum jams. Instead of spinning out dangerously, the machine has a better chance of staying under control. That kind of thinking matters. Power without control is just risk. Creativity is impressive, but safe creativity is what makes a machine worth using. At the Mondier sawmill in Auvergne, the scene shifts into real craftsmanship. You can almost hear the blades working through the timber. This is where skill meets innovation, and every cut has purpose. For anyone who loves woodworking, sawmills, or the machinery behind clean lumber production, this kind of footage is worth watching closely. It is not just wood being cut, it is material being shaped with experience. Then the Hartnett petrol log saw steps in like a serious piece of equipment. With a 13-horsepower engine and a 700mm blade, most people might see only another saw, but the safety design is what makes it stand out. The blade is fully cased, cutting down accident risk while still allowing the machine to deliver strong cutting performance. That proves a simple point: power and safety should not be enemies. A good industrial timber machine needs both. A blade, a falling branch, a bad cut, or a shifting log can change the whole scene in seconds. Industrial timber is built around power, but power without respect is where mistakes happen. Then a tree drops into a fence, and the result is pure chaos. It is messy, expensive, and completely avoidable. Hopefully, someone learned something from it. Because timber work does not give cheap lessons. Every mistake around trees and heavy wood has a cost. Next, a homemade drum saw flips the script. What started as an experiment now slices through wood smoothly. It proves that simple ideas can carry serious force when built correctly. Not every useful machine needs to look polished. Sometimes the most effective tools come from practical thinking, scrap parts, and repeated testing. The superior sliding splitter focuses on speed and durability. Its smooth sliding mechanism reduces friction while keeping maximum force on the log. Even difficult, twisted, gnarly pieces do not stand much of a chance when the system is tuned correctly. That is industrial design doing what it should, reducing wasted energy and keeping production moving. Then comes the clean hum of a homemade firewood saw. The blade slices smoothly, each log splits evenly, and the whole machine feels special because it is built by hand. It is more than a tool. It is creativity turned into something useful, efficient, and strong enough to handle real work. Homemade equipment like this shows how far practical engineering can go when the builder understands the job. Then the Alco PTO table proves that a saw table is not always basic. It takes raw tractor power and turns it into clean, precise cuts. The setup is simple, but the result is sharp and efficient. It is not just cutting wood, it is working smarter, faster, and with better control. When the homemade processor starts up, you can feel the raw power behind it. With an 80-liter pump and a 140mm cylinder, this is not a small backyard toy. It is built for tough logs and serious pressure. This is more than a test run. It is pure engineering muscle on display. The kind of machine that proves homemade does not mean weak. Finally, at first glance, that blade looks too flimsy for anything big. But once it fires up, the surprise begins. It slices through thick logs like butter, proving that appearances can be misleading. Sometimes the unexpected tools turn out to be the strongest performers. That is the industrial timber lesson. Judge the machine by what it does under load, not by how it looks sitting still.